Hello, good evening. I'm Oral Gibbs, and welcome to Speaking of Everything. And with me this evening, I have this young lady, this is Zwanikken, and we also have Mrs. Haar. And welcome to both of you ladies. How are you doing?
Good evening,
Good evening.
Oral.
Well, it's good to have you both here in the program this evening to speak about the work that you all are doing. Understand you all are going into the schools and speaking with students. So probably, who's going to start first and tell me about it?
About 2.5 years ago, Myriam and I got together, and I had an idea to start some coaching in the classrooms, actually bringing emotional awareness to kids. And Myriam, being an emotional coach, was the person I need to speak to. I told her, well, I would go with you, and I would actually investigate and look around with the knowledge that I had accumulated over the years. And we've been at Sister Genevieve the Weaver and the vocational school. And that's where we've been, that's what we do. We do some emotional coaching.
Okay. No, I know Mrs. Haar is no stranger to us here, been in the program before.
Yes.
And so tell us about your involvement.
Sorry?
Tell us about your involvement.
Well, we just give emotional coaching to children, or we started in 2013 in January.
Mm-hmm.
What we started in 2013 with children from 7 to 17-year-olds. So we were actually at the vocational school and at Genevieve the Weaver, and we had various groups. We gave the same coaching to all the groups, so the young people at the vocational school and the children in the elementary school. And my background being coaching, awareness and personal development, I decided that for the children, bringing awareness would probably be a little bit too dairy. Decided that emotional would probably work better with the children. So this is what we decided to do. Okay. And we saw the same development and the same progress in all the children at the same time.
So now, when you talk about emotional coaching, can you just break that down a little bit here for me, what emotional coaching is all about?
Okay. Should I do that one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Emotional coaching is just allowing children to express their emotions, their feelings, without judgment, but with guidance, if you will. Because you see that the educational system in the course of the years has cut us off from our emotions. We are very much required to operate from the left hemisphere of the brain, and the right hemisphere of the brain is actually slowly dying in people because it's not being used. And the area of the emotions, the creativity, the imagination, the dreams, is in the right hemisphere, and the heart is never being addressed either, or the solar plexus, where a lot of emotions reside.
Okay. Now, we know that the last time I had Mrs. Zwanikken here, and you mentioned it because you lost your son.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, I mentioned it in a sense because he had gotten ill, and I thought, well, what could we have done differently to intervene into that? And of course, I recognized that it was too late to do anything at that point. And so I was experimenting at that time with some meditation practice, the mindfulness meditation practice. And when I spoke to Myriam, I said, Myriam, you know, there's something missing in the system that's bringing up kids these days, and probably something missing, and it was missing because the kids needed to spend time, of course, with adults that would give them the proper guidance. And the system, how it's created now, a lot of the kids are not around adults a lot. And so, indeed, as people who meet as tribe, we're tribe people. That's how we're hunter-gatherers. We tell stories, and that's how we inform each other. When something goes missing in your society, you look around and you notice a new development, you have to adjust it so your society develops a certain way. Now, if you want to develop people who are well-behaved, for example, then you notice, hey, is the society well-behaved? Are the people a certain way? What can I do to make that adaptation? And Myriam being an emotional coach, I said, well, this would be something that we could give kids. We could give them tools to recognize states and start to understand themselves. And then they could also start to understand other people who were in the room.
So what has been, how would you describe now, what, a year or two since you're...
2.5.
2.5 years, actually.
What has been the real experience for both of you?
As far as I'm concerned, I've seen the children grow in a sense that we have managed to actually bring out their, or they have expressed, we have managed to create an atmosphere in the class where they feel at ease expressing exactly what they feel and how they feel.
That's true.
Without restriction. That means that, of course, you watch your words, but it is not going to be punishable to use bad words in the class. You have to allow the children to express the way they feel. These children do not express themselves with gentle words. They are not used to that, so they have a rough way of speaking. You are going to guide them into how you say things,
right,
probably, but you're still not going to prevent the children from expressing their emotions.
That's it.
So we give them all kinds of exercises they have with us. They get mindfulness, meditation. We always start with a brief meditation. We give them breathing techniques to help them slow down and really relax a little bit, because they're usually hyperactive.
I think the whole population needs that right now.
Yes, but okay, so we still want those children to get a little bit at ease and relax, a little bit more relaxed after a whole morning at school in a very high energy environment. So what we've seen really is their opening confidence also in themselves.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
In themselves, in us, in being able to express themselves, in really actually blossoming in some areas, in self-confidence, in growing, in awareness, in kindness.
Okay, and what about you, Zwanikken? What's been
I give them the mindfulness, because that's what I actually practice. I've been practicing that kind of, so I brought that in. As soon as the school allowed me to do that, that took about 2 years of, I've only been busy doing that maybe the last 4 months. And I noticed to get the kids back into their bodies, so I teach them the body scan. The scanning,
What's that?
the body scan is where you close your eyes and then you sense your body. So I tell them, close your eyes and bring your attention to your toes. Feel your shoes around your toes. So then I, bring them up and aware. A lot of the disorders, mental and mind disorders that we're seeing now, actually has to do with the fact that kids are not feeling their bodies. The prefrontal cortex, which is the frontal part, the most frontal part of the brain, which was the last one to develop in humans, the most recent part to develop in humans, is actually, when they looked at all the disorders, it's that area that's the weakest. They notice in people with the disorders, that's the weak part. And so in training people to body scan, in training people to be mindful, in training people to rein back in their attention and connect with their bodies, you train the prefrontal cortex, and you give people a chance to just have that moment. You give the kids a chance just to have that moment to think it over.
Now, I was asking you during the break about the students now. You go to the schools and you speak with them. Are you satisfied? Are you seeing real improvement? Because sometimes our youngsters in school could be very rough. I don't want to take anyone.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes. So we see improvement, but the fact that we're only there 1 hour a week with those children is way too little. Way too little. Because they quickly forget what we bring them. once they plunge in their regular daily environment, which is not necessarily a beneficent environment. So the progress that we've seen so far are very, very slow. And the progress that we've noticed are certainly progress towards us within the enclosed classroom, not necessarily out in the other classrooms, but it will also depend on how they're treated in other classrooms.
But you go back to what you know. So if the norm is to be yelled at, so the feedback loop, the feedback cycle that goes on. So if your teacher's accustomed of seeing you a certain way, oh yeah, you stick somebody with a pencil, you know, your feedback loop becomes one where the kids get accustomed of hearing what they hear. And in our class, if Myriam has an issue with one of the students, she'll continue with the rest. She'll say what she needs to say to that particular student, and then I'll go over and give that person feedback. I'll hear what that person's concern is, and I'll listen to him or her, and then I'll tell them, you know, from my point of view, it went like this, and this is where I would encourage them to do better. And so trying to teach them that feedback doesn't have to be something that's so painful that you can't sit to hear it, because that's what happens. People become so defensive. They just won't sit to hear it anymore.
So then, when you're in the classroom,
yes,
you ask them to share their experiences with you, or anything like that.
Well, this work, Myriam gives them work to do, and of course because they
choose topics.
They choose topics because
they choose topics.
Oh, okay.
We did, yeah.
And then we have them say. To express how, like we just entered the topic of bullying. Right now, we're going to go over the next school year. We will look into bullying. So we started by asking the children to make a collage about peace. So they made a collage about peace.
Really?
And so the whole group together, okay? And then...
were you surprised?
Huh?
Were you surprised at the results?
Oh, no, they're beautiful.
That's fun. That's wonderful.
No. We need to have the children to be able to express themselves, and not always with the words. They express themselves also by a piece of art and by chatting with each other while they are working on their piece of art. And then we asked them to, after that, when we were done with the piece and the peace meditation and knowing how it feels to be at peace, then we went over to look into the bullying, and I asked them, all of them together, to just draw what their imagination, their picture of a bully. And so again, then we have a drawing, a collage or a piece of art that depicts the bully, the feelings. The children will express their feelings through their drawings.
So it's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Now, what's the age group that you all meet with?
This year we're dealing with children between the ages of, I'd say 10 and 12, or 10 and 12. Yeah, last year we did the teenagers. That was really impressive. Yeah.
I wanted to mention something else about this group, this particular group of children. They are children who are facing all kinds of challenges. But one of the major challenges they face is that they're usually not appreciated for who they are.
Really?
And
I mean, from at home?
At home, at school.
And then at school, it trickles, because it's always the same kids.
Yes.
You know which ones they are.
They're the problem children. They always create trouble, you know. So it's kind of creating a negative
feedback. Cycle, yeah.
So the teachers get fed up because they keep repeating the same thing over and over again. The children are fed up because they keep hearing the same thing over and over again. Then they come to our classroom. And in our classroom, we're not saying nothing happens there.
A lot happens.
A lot
because
happens
it's the kids,
because that's where you're allowed to express what you feel and how you look at things. But we always work with the children from a point of love and positive
and acceptance,
positive feedback, not the negative that they hear every day. And to accept, that teaches that leads the children to actually accept what you're saying to them, because you're saying it with they know you care.
You know you care. After 2 years,
so it's received in a different way, and it's also given in a different way.
But let me ask you, Have you all ever had a chance to speak with the parents
Yes.
of these children? Really?
Yes.
What has been the impression?
Some of them, they tell me that the child has calmed down, but that is probably more due to the fact that I give them some information and simple things to do
To feed them
for
differently.
those who have attention deficit and hyperactivity. For the rest, I'm not sure that the parents understand what we're doing with the children. They know that we
we're
give
too
them
soft.
emotional
What?
coaching.
A lot of teachers think we're too soft on them.
Yeah.
The teachers
Yeah.
think we're too soft, you know,
Yeah.
because they don't understand the
Not gonna
positive
work.
feedback.
You gotta treat Johnny like this.
Yeah.
You don't know.
People, you know, people are caught in their paradigm, in their habits.
That's true.
You know, so a child is a child needs discipline. So the child does not obey. Okay, you take your belt and you start hitting the child with a belt.
Shame him.
We don't go for that. Hitting, touching is absolute. Well, touching, I mean, in a term of hitting and hurting a child is absolutely a no-go.
Yeah.
No-go zone.
It's quite interesting because my father never hit me, but my mother did on many occasions.
Somebody had to do it.
So, you know, and
No.
my mother always felt that, you know, that you can't just let children get away with anything.
It might have worked, and you know what? And I'm not going to say that it couldn't have worked some way in the society that we lived in before, but in this day and age, where kids are bombarded and have access to information and not enough guidance and not enough bonding with adults to get through certain stories, it can't work. It cannot work.
Remember, you get hit once, you get hit twice, you get hit 3 times.
You know how to
After that,
toughen
you
up.
know the song, you toughen up, you don't care, and then you come to bigger means. And where does it stop?
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then you're teaching
now
your
it's this
child
kind of day.
that it's okay to actually hurt and hit other people. That's what you're doing when you hit them. You're giving them free rein to do that to other children. Why would they think
focus
that
in.
it's not okay to do that if this is what they face in the home?
I think a lot of Christian people, families feel that, you know, it's in the Bible.
Right. Somebody was telling me that rod is actually
Right.
a guiding rod.
Oh, okay.
It's not.
That's a good way to describe.
Yeah, they told me that rod is a guiding rod. It's not
It's
one
not a
to
rod
hit.
to hit it.
Yeah, it's not one to hit.
Yeah, but
I don't know about the Bible.
don't worry, we'll take it up another time. We have to go to a break.
I would think that any holy book would be all about kindness and loving
I
and
agree with you too. don't worry.
practicing
Definitely.
kindness.
Well,
And,
kindness can look kind of tough.
In the
but
end,
an eye for an eye is not kindness.
I think in the end, kindness matters more
It
than anything
does.
else. You were saying something to me about,
Yes, about the cycle of violence.
Yeah.
I was brought up with physical violence, so I know exactly what it feels and how I felt. And I was quite rebellious when I was young. I've been rebellious all my life, actually. That's why I'm doing the job that I'm doing today as well.
See, turn out for something
But
good.
I know exactly, I'm also what people call an empath. So I am able to feel the energies and feel the feelings of others. So I know what the children feel in a lot of situations. And I always promise myself that I would always help others overcome the cycle of violence if possible.
Yeah.
and Zwanikken?
I just think that it's not going to work if there's not proper bonding, if you don't recover your relationships with your kids after you beat them, if there's too much ill will and too much tension between, and in particular the relationship between the parent and the child, it's not going to work. Eventually, the children just slip away from you. They merge with their friends, and if the friends are good and they're doing good things, well, you're lucky. But if the kids are going on the wrong path, you lose your children out there.
So then, what primary schools you all are going to right now? so far?
We just have a Genevieve the Weaver because that was a pilot program.
It's a
and
pilot,
so they agreed
so we'll follow those kids for the next couple of years. Some of them are graduating next year, so we'll follow them.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
And you all have a name for your organization?
Well, the one that we do at Sister Genevieve is called Powerful Kids under Myriam's Foundation.
Powerful Kids?
Powerful Kids, yeah.
Okay. I like that name.
Powerful You. Well, my business is called Powerful You because I'm also a coach.
Okay.
So I do business under Powerful You. So I call it Powerful You, Powerful Kids.
Okay.
And I work with the youth brigade, the voice of our children. So I mentor some youth over there. And I'm also in my son's 6th grade and the 4th grade at CIA. I also give emotional awareness information and mindfulness, of course.
There are a lot of children on this island that are neglected.
Yeah.
And that neglect sometimes hurt those children right into their adult life.
Yeah.
And how they perform in the classroom too.
Yeah.
And most of the children we have, and I mean that's only a small group, but there are many more on this island. But it's not only on the island; it's in many places in the world
right now.
Not in every layer of society, but in quite a few areas, in quite some layers of society, that you will see that children are really being neglected. And then you have to know that once you are being neglected, it creates trauma, and you don't overcome your trauma.
Right.
So it's there to stay.
So you have
people are unaware of the damage they do to their children. And one thing I would like to mention in this day and age, very, very typical, is that you're going to see young mothers that have young children, and you're going to see them with the children standing by and constantly on their phone.
Yeah, I hate to see that.
What you're saying to a child who is 2, 3 years old is, you're not important enough. My phone is much more important than you are. Now you have to know that from 0 to 7, actually your brain is recording what you see, what you perceive. Children do not reason when they're that age, they're too young. So they look and they absorb like a sponge. Yeah. And once they're 7, they press the button, they play the tape. So what you're doing is you're creating children that are going to grow up
disconnected.
Completely disconnected.
Yeah.
It's already happening.
Yeah,
yes, it is happening. It's happened already for a few years.
Yeah, and so when you see these things happening in your society, you jump on it. You say, okay, I see this is the new trend that's happening. What can we do to counter it? We've let it go by for so much, and then you try to implement systems that will actually take care of that. And that's why we were thinking that this emotional coaching program would actually work, that they really push for the SEL learning. Because socially and emotionally, if we can't connect there, where are we going? Where are we going?
But there's be other times. I'm going to give each of you 30 seconds. Mrs. Haar, any advice you may have for parents of young children?
Yes, I would like them to realize that children are much more receptive to reward and love and reward and kindness than punishment and beatings.
And Mrs. Zwanikken?
I would like to tell the parents out there to just tune in. Just tune into your children. Try to be attuned with what's going on. Just watch them from a distance and watch your children. Okay. And you'll see. And
I think both of you will say that television is a distraction, right? That parents should have a few minutes every day without TV.
Yes, a few minutes. They should actually have no TV. Go back to no TV. It's brainwashing. TV is just brainwashing.
On what you're watching.
Depending on the programs you're allowing your kids to take.
You can't really not tune into something. So
I agree with both of you.
Although we are on TV now.
Right, don't worry. No, you're all right though. I want to thank both of you, Mrs. Haar, Mrs. Zwanikken.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. Once Mrs. Zwanikken told me about it, I thought it would be good to have both of you in to speak about what you're doing. I think you're doing a great job. Keep up the work and hope to have you back sometime in the future. All right?
Thank you very much for having us.
Thank you. And that's it for now. See you next time. Until then, good night. Take care. Bye.